I don't know why the world thinks that we love the negativity when we don't.
Hey guys. Cheers. Oh.
So today we're going to be enjoying a little Coke.
A little refreshment.
Yes. Welcome back to the Modern Hippies episode 7.
Woo,
We've made it this
lucky
far.
number 7. I legit can't believe that we've done it for this long.
I know.
How committed we are.
Even if it's not all 5 of us.
Oh,
we've
made
it. We're here.
Yeah, we have perfect attendance so far. We have a representative every time. But
At least 2 of us, okay?
we did say that in the beginning. That it would be at least 2. So we didn't lie. But yeah, as you have noticed, we just keep getting smaller and smaller. We're
just
kicking
busy
everybody
gals.
out. Yeah.
We get sick.
Yeah. So I think they got sick from my last time.
From being fabulous. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, they got sick of me. I'm just kidding. No, yeah, they're sick. And then, I've just been going around. So it's just me and Lexia today.
Yes. And it's perfect because we can talk about our pregnancy, how we got pregnant, how it happened together, which we'll get into because it's very, very important and such a cool story, to be honest.
It is super cool.
Such
I
a cool
still
story.
can't believe that it happened.
I love it. Like every time I think about it, I'm like, dude, we're literally days, not even a week, not even like say month. We're just days apart.
And
with
the way
everything.
that we manifested it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So we were both the moms of the group.
Yes.
So since it's just the both of us, we thought it would be great to just...
We're the moms of our children, but in our group, I don't think we're like very momish.
No. I
think that's
of the
Luisa.
boss. Yeah, I think so too. She's always giving advice.
Yeah, I think it's Luisa, but of course, we know how to take care of our child.
Oh yeah, obviously. Yeah, no, when we're with our friends, it's where
we're the children.
Yeah. Yeah, but we're going to talk about all things moms. And
I wore my mama needs sleep shirt.
Yeah, and she's currently pregnant. So she's like a super mom right now, literally making a child.
I know. Taking all my energy. Take it away.
Yeah, well, thank you for being here.
I deserve this Coke, okay?
Yeah. So she can't drink. I was like, should we have a Coke? Ooh, let's get crazy.
Let's get crazy.
But yeah, so we're going to talk all things. We're going to start off how we got pregnant.
Yes.
Yeah. And then we're
going to keep the sexy details to ourselves.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, not that part. I didn't even think of that. Oh, yeah, you have to have sex to get pregnant. But yeah, we're not going to talk about that. Kind of more so leading up to it and how we manifested it.
Yeah.
And then we can both share about our experiences being pregnant and being there for each other.
But then the same.
Yeah. And then becoming parents to newborns and then to where we are now. So both of our kids are 1. That's so crazy.
They're toddlers.
I know. Oh my gosh. I cannot keep up with Zara anymore.
No.
Like with the mess. That's why my house has been a mess too. I'm just like, ugh.
You're like, no thanks.
As soon as I pick it up, it's going to just end up everywhere.
But since I have a mom, I'm like, just leave it. I get it. Like,
yeah,
you don't have to worry about it.
That's true.
But I am also the motivation, okay?
Yeah. No, she made a perfect point because I hadn't cleaned my house in a little bit. And she's like, oh yeah, when people come over, you use that as an your motivator. And
like,
that is totally true.
Coming over, let's get to it.
Yeah. And then I always get mad because it took me like an hour or 2 and I'm like,
You've been dreading it for what?
Yeah. Let's start off with deciding.
Yeah.
Like starting there. Like, did you plan to get pregnant? Was it an accident? Share as much as you feel comfortable.
Okay. We planned, but not like, oh, I'm ovulating here. I'm ovulating there, or let's have sex now. We agreed. I was like, babe, I think I'm ready. Like, I want a baby. Like, give me a baby. And he was like, all right. And then, but we're just like, if it happens, it happens. We weren't in a rush, and we just let time take its speed and let it do its
you
thing.
let Jesus take the wheel.
Yeah, I think I let Jesus take the wheel a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we decided, it took about almost a year for it to happen. Like, we were doing the D.
Yeah, and if you feel comfortable, I know that we have a lot of female audiences. So I know that you have like an irregular period. So
yeah. So
were you like on birth control or any of that?
No birth control because I'm afraid of the hormones.
Yeah.
But
feel you there.
yeah, no birth control. So then we just kind of stopped using protection and having fun. The funny thing is, Julio was like, "You made this happen," because I would put my legs up on the wall sometimes. I was like, I'm gonna get a baby.
Dang, so you were really wanting to get pregnant. That's so funny.
But like I said, we weren't like, oh, let's have sex now, or like,
you weren't like timing it. You were still just kind of like letting it happen naturally.
Or like, if it happens, it happens. Like we both agreed, and then that's how it happened.
And then it happened. Yeah.
But no period, no birth control, no nothing. Just kind of went with the flow. And then how was your experience?
So actually,
because I know yours took less time than mine. Mine was almost about a year.
Yeah. So I'm hella fertile. No, but so we'll start off by, so I was actually completely opposite of you. I kind of like my whole life didn't want to have kids, and then once it was just kind of like, that's something that Isaac really, really wanted. Like from like when he met me, he was like, I want to be a parent someday. And I was like, oh, and I was like, well, just see how things go. Maybe I can convince you, But no, he actually not convinced me, but it's so crazy because like I fell so in love with him that the only thing that I could be like, I was like, this guy is so perfect. Like I love him so much.
He
like
can have my children.
Yes, like what like I don't know, like there's no like what a most beautiful way to show your love than by making something that is like the best parts of both of you, you know? And so that's like, I don't know why I pictured it, and this kind of made me change my mind. I don't know why I pictured both me and Isaac at Disneyland pushing like a double stroller. And I was like, what?
You want twins?
No twins. But we do want 2 kids.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, so I started off like not really wanting kids, and then I was like, yeah, okay, let's do this. And I had been on birth control since I was like 15 years old, because I had it for like acne and stuff like that, and I would also just have like terrible periods. So my doctor recommended it, and I was like, okay, let's try it out.
Yeah, I don't think I was on birth control because I think like my mom just didn't grow up with that, so it wasn't anything that she persuade, or I feel like if she would have thought about it, she would have been like, you're having sex.
Yeah. No. And it was kind of like that. This is kind of a little side story, I guess, but so because we're Mexican, and so all that is like, no, like don't do it, like don't even think about it, like, so if you hold hands, you're gonna get pregnant. For real. But it kind of took some time to convince, because like the doctor did say that to me, and when I was younger, like I was like super depressed, like about my acne and stuff like that, and then I would always get like, how they say like the average period is from like 5 to like 10 days. Like I was literally the 10-day person.
I was like the 10 day person too.
And it was so long, and it was so heavy, and I was anemic because I would lose.
Anemic too.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, not a good thing to be happy about, but yeah.
No, relatable, we're bonding. And so that happened, and I was anemic, and I remember whenever I would give a period, like the first like couple days, I would be like bedridden, like I couldn't move because the cramps were so bad, and then I would get dizzy a lot and like throw up, like because of the anemia. Like there'd be so many times where I would almost like pass out in the shower because it would be like so hot, and so like all this stuff I would like tell my mom, and that's why they recommended it, because it kind of would help with all of that. Yeah. And so it took some time to convince, but then she saw that I was like suffering, so she was like, okay, let's just do it. And so we started, and then I started it. So I was literally on since I was 15. And honestly, that changed my life. I know it's not for everybody. Yeah. And I did have to go through, like, I think I tried like 4 different types, because some of them I figured out that I have to have like the lowest estrogen, or I'll say will like throw up all the time. So, so it took a trial and error. But once I found one that worked, like it literally changed my life. Like my periods are like now like 3 days. They're regular, like on the dot. Like I know exactly when I'm going to get them. My acne cleared up. I wasn't anemic anymore, so it was just all over.
Very helpful for you.
Yeah. So I had been on it for a long time. Back to story.
Yeah.
I had been on it for a really, really long time. And I always had heard that if you're on it for a really long time, it can take a while for you to get pregnant. And so I was kind of expecting it like kind of like a year before we started. And so I remember we were saying that we were going to wait until after EDC, because I was like kind of be the last like EDC that we went on before we started trying.
Your guys was a little bit more planned.
Oh yeah, no, I am a planner. Yeah. So like I was like,
and that's so funny because both of us, we're so opposite. Like she's very planned. I'm very like, just go with the flow. Yeah. See what happens, you know?
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool that we got to experience this together, because like, you know, we can see each other's differences. Because I remember you'll be like, I have a checklist for this. I'm like, send it to me because I don't have anything.
Yeah, I remember when like we were planning our baby shower, and I was like, oh, I already have my registry, and like yours was coming up and you're like, oh, I don't have it. I'm like, that's so crazy. Or names. Yeah. There was like a checklist.
Well, hold on. I think we should pause and get back to that, because that's like a big jump from where we're at right now. But yes, I just got sidetracked because I was like, we're so different. And
yeah. So yeah, we are so different. And so I'm very type A, and I plan everything to the T. So I was kind of picturing, so after EDC, we're going to start trying. And the funny thing is that it was supposed to happen in 2020 when the pandemic happened. So we were planning on getting pregnant, like starting to get pregnant on 2020, but then EDC got canceled, and it kept getting postponed. I don't think it happened until like 2022, I think.
They were born 2022.
Oh wait, yeah, you're right. So 2021. Yeah. 2021, it finally happened. And so literally the next day I stopped taking my birth control. And then I was like, all right, we still have like a year, blah, 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 blah. I got pregnant in like March. Yeah. So it was like, it's so fast. And
because I started like around May-ish. Yeah. So it was like almost a whole year. Yeah.
And so then that happened. And as much as like we planned it, it was still like, oh fuck, because it was way sooner than we thought. And I kind of had like a checklist for like myself. Like I wanted to have a house, I wanted to be married, I had some debt, so I wanted to get that paid off. And literally all of those things happened. Yeah. And then like I got pregnant, and I was kind of freaking out because I thought it was going to be later rather than sooner. But I was like, hey, if it's supposed to happen, like I have my checklist. Like there's no, like I would just be making excuses at that point, you know? So it was kind of hard for me to like accept
it, that you were like, it's happening now.
Yeah. And then the story of how I found out too is, wait, actually that kind of goes on with later.
Yes. So in August, we took a trip camping. Yeah. A group of friends, you know, and it was just me and Z. Everyone was doing their own thing, and we were in the water, just chilling, connecting with the, you know, Mother Nature,
being hippies.
Yes, for reals. And I think that's honestly what made it like so magical, where we manifested it. Because I remember, I don't know how we brought it up about having kids, but I remember you saying, you're like, me and Isaac want to have kids, but I kind of feel bad, not feel bad, but like you were like kind of scared because Luisa and Alma were very like known that they didn't want to have kids. All other friends
like don't want to have kids, or they're not sure, they're leaning more towards no, or it's gonna be a while till they have kids.
Yeah, so you were like, I don't like want to be the only one, you know. And I was like, I want kids, like, you know. Yeah. And then at that point, see, we had already kind of started trying, but it wasn't so serious, like, you know. Yeah. So we're just talking about it, and we're like, and you're like, let's have them together. And I was like, yeah, I'm so down to do that.
And we were talking about how cool it would be if like we both got pregnant together, and we were joking around about like planning in, like we were gonna text each other when we were like having sex and stuff. Yeah.
And then we never did that. And that was it, you know.
It was just kind of like a passing conversation.
Like we talked about it, and we said we're gonna have kids together at the same time, this and that. And literally March came around.
Yeah. And so we went to a show, Ellis Stream, and that was crazy. It was so fun. And then I remember after that, it ended up really late, and we went back to your place. Yeah. And then I think it was just Will and Alma that were there, so they ended up leaving.
Yeah, after a while.
Yeah, and then me and her like just started talking about anything and everything, like world domination, like getting in touch with your spiritual self.
We are powerful people, able to do anything, whatever we want.
Yeah, and so it was just so magical, and I think we stayed up till like 6 in the morning just talking, and you know I can talk, so that's believable. But so we were just talking about, and then the thing about like having kids came up again. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, like I think I'm gonna we should have kids. Like, it'd be so cool, you know? And we kind of like said it a little bit more serious this time.
Yeah.
And I remember like up until that point, I legit like wanted to have a boy. I was like, I want to have a boy.
I remember for a while you were like,
yeah, I was like, I don't want a girl. I want to be a boy. I want to have a boy. I want to have a boy. And then I remember we had made a vision board, and I had put on there a baby because that's what I wanted for like the future year. But I think the only baby that I could find was a girl. But
that's what made it happen,
dude. Yeah. And so up until that point, I had wanted a boy, even with the vision board. And then when I was like, oh yeah, like, I don't know why, something that like night or whatever, I was like, I think I kind of want a girl now. Like, I don't know, like, it'd be cool to have a girl. Yeah, I think I'm meant to have a girl. I don't know, like, something in me just like changed completely. And then the magical thing happened. And so probably like 3 days later, it wasn't much.
I don't even remember how far away it was from that.
Maybe most a week.
Yeah.
Most a week. Again, like, my period is always on, like, it's always to the T. So
when is your period? That way you can go off of that.
Oh, well, I just know that it's like a Tuesday.
Okay.
It's a Tuesday, and then the first P of the morning. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
We'd have to like do some math. Yeah. So like a week later, my period is always on time. And so I remember that it was the first P of the morning, and it was a Tuesday, and nothing happened. And I was like, that's suspicious.
Were you home alone?
Yeah, I was home alone. Everybody, like, Isaac was working and whatever. And I like couldn't wait.
Did you already have a test at home, or you had to go buy one?
No, I think I went to go buy one. I think I went to the Walgreens down the street, and I just went to go buy some. And I didn't tell anybody, like, nothing. Like, because I've had like pregnancy scare. Like, if something's just a little bit off, you know that it like gets in my head, and I can't like stop thinking about it. So I was like, this is probably nothing, but I'm just gonna... And at
this point, you didn't have any symptoms or anything?
No.
Besides just missing your period?
Yeah. It was like my first period that I was missing. So I was like, okay, let me just go and take it. And I took the pregnancy test, not thinking anything. And dude, it was a positive, like, instantly. And I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, and I just like kind of had like a mental breakdown, like, by myself there. And then I remember, I think I was texting Alma, and I don't know why my instinct was, I was actually going to tell Alma before I told Isaac, because I was like already talking to her, and I was like, oh, let me just FaceTime her. Yeah. And then the funny thing is that it happened to be on April 1st, which is my mom's birthday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so I was like, well, and I was like, wait, no, like, I had to tell Isaac first, and I could not wait. Like, I imagined doing it like in a cute way whenever I got pregnant, but I couldn't wait. I literally FaceTimed him while he was at work. And so I tell him, and I was like, babe, like, I'm pregnant. Like, I showed him the pregnancy test. I had taken, I think, like 2 more just to show him. What was
his reaction?
He didn't believe me because it was April Fool's.
Yes.
Yeah. So like, I was like crying, like, I was telling him it was real, like, he didn't believe me, and he was just kind of like, oh, okay, like, blah, blah, blah. And like, even though I told him that it was real.
Did you cry when you told him, or no? No. Okay, so that's also like, she's not crying, she's not, because I feel like a lot of people cry.
No, well, I cried, but he didn't, like, at all. Yeah.
No, when you told him, you cried?
I don't remember. I think I did.
Maybe. Who knows?
But I think I was more in shock, honestly. And so then, I told him, and he's like, okay, well, I got to get back to a patient. Bye. And I was like, okay, you know,
that's that.
Yeah. And so then he gets home, and he's like, oh, like, you know, you're joking. And I'm like, no, it's real, you know? And he was like, oh, fuck. And then it like set in. Yeah. And then like that night we were going to go to dinner for my mom's birthday. And I was like, well, I have to like tell her, like, it's perfect. Like, it's her birthday, like, blah, blah, blah. And so before dinner, I like went to like a store, and I bought this little onesie that said like grandma or something like that. And then little boots, and then the pregnancy test. And I put it like all in a present.
Dude, her reaction was perfect.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I should post a video. I'm gonna post a video. But yeah, so then it was just perfect because no one suspected anything, and so she just opened the gift like it was her birthday present, and then she was.
It'll be right here.
Yeah.
No.
What happened?
Que ya va a ser abuelita.
But yeah, it was so special. Like, yeah. And then I remember I told like my immediate family, and then I didn't tell really anybody. I told you guys.
Yeah.
But like I wasn't on social media, so I never posted it. And then I only told people that I would like saw.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of nice because it was like my little secret.
You were detoxing from social media at that time.
Yeah. And then what happened after?
3 days later.
Yeah.
When Z told us and we were all hanging out, I remember she was like, "It's your turn now, you know?" And I was like, "Well, I haven't got my period yet, you know? I'm still waiting for it."
Yeah.
But to me, that was normal. Like, there was times that I would skip a month and then it'll come back, you know. I used to take so much pregnancy tests to be like, oh shit, you know, that I kind of got like used to it, like
desensitized.
Yeah, like that's just my period, it'll come next month. So I was waiting, and then, you know, Z said she was pregnant, and I told her, you know, like, it hasn't came, it's gonna come though, like, don't worry about it. But I don't know what made me 3 days later, after we hung out and we were all talking about it, 3 days later, I don't know what made me take a pregnancy test. I already had one at home. I think if I didn't have it at home, I would have probably waited a little bit longer. But since I already had it, I was like, let me just take it and see what happens. And literally, I was pregnant.
Yeah.
I was pregnant. Yeah. I FaceTimed her and Alma, but she didn't answer me right away. And Alma did. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, I gotta go to Z's house. I don't care. Because it's like a pretty good drive to get to Z's house.
Yeah, it's like 30 minutes.
Yeah. So I was like, I gotta tell her in person.
And it was early as fuck too. That's why I wasn't even awake. So you were like trying to FaceTime me and I was like not awake.
Yeah, but I was just so shook. And I was like, oh my God. Like, she just told me she's pregnant. Now I'm pregnant. And we talked about it. And it's just like, it's happening. It's fucking happening. Oh my God. Like, but yeah, so I drove over here. Isaac opens the door and he was just like, huh? And I just show him the test. He's like, oh, she's in the room. She's in the room.
Yeah, and I was in the bathroom, and I'm pretty sure I was like wiping, and it was so weird because it was like early, like 9. Yeah. And we never have people coming at like 9, and I heard the doorbell ring.
I also don't come unannounced.
Yeah. But I remember I heard the doorbell while I was like peeing, and then all of a sudden, like, I see you and I'm like, oh, and then I just see the pregnancy and I'm like, oh my God. And then we both just hugged each other. I even took another
one at her house.
Oh yeah.
It was so beautiful though.
Oh my God.
We hugged each other, we cried, like.
And then it just felt so nice that we weren't gonna do it alone.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because it's scary.
It is.
It's everything changes.
Like, now I'm alone.
No,
I still have
we're
you,
both moms.
I still have you.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna be alone later.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. But I think that's what was scary about it, because you hear so many stories about like friends like not hanging out with you anymore because you have kids.
Yeah, that was what we were a little worried. But our friends, they reassured us. They're like, no, we're not leaving you guys.
Are amazing. Our kids love them. Like, they've never been like, oh no, don't bring your kids. Yeah. Like, if we're gonna do something,
they're so welcoming to them.
Yeah. They want to carry them and, you know, play with them, and
they'll be like, bring them over, and I'm like, I want to have some me time.
Yeah. I know. Sometimes they're like, oh, I haven't seen them in so while, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, I need to go away from them for a little bit.
And then so after I told Z about it and I was at her house, she gave me a little box that she had.
Oh yeah.
And I put the pregnancy test in there, and I went in and I got a card. I said something about being a parent, and I put it in there, and I had to wait all day long to tell Julio. I was like, he got home. You know what this guy thought I got him?
What?
A freaking
Xbox controller, no?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember you told me.
What? And then like he opened it, and in the card it says like, don't worry, like everything will be fine, like, you know, becoming a dad and all that. So then he took it, he's like, he didn't believe it either. He's like, oh my God. And then, you know, we celebrated, hugged, this and that. And then I waited a little bit to tell my family. Just because, I don't know, we've had 4 nieces already. So I was just nervous because of my mom. She's very particular. Yeah. And also because the funny thing is, when I was younger, I was supposed to be the child that gets pregnant at 18 and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not going to watch your child if you get pregnant. And, you know, like my mom just thought I was going to get pregnant at 18 and, you know, and I proved her wrong. I was what, 27?
Yeah.
I was the last one out of my sisters.
Hell
my
yeah.
little sister had a kid before me.
Did your mom, what was your mom, a young mom?
I think she had hers like at 21, 22. So yeah, kinda. Not really. Not like teen, but like, you know.
Because my mom had hers at 17, my brother.
Oh, no, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember, I feel like when I passed 17 and I wasn't pregnant, I was like, hell yeah.
Well, same thing when I passed 18. I was like, oh, I proved you wrong, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, so I was a little nervous because of that. So I did the same thing. Like, I think I got him mugs that said best grandma ever and best grandpa ever, and I put the pregnancy test in there, and I did it on my birthday.
Yeah.
April 13th. That's and so then
cute. Which is tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna be 30.
Hell yeah.
What is it? 30?
Dirty 30.
30, flirty, and thriving.
Hell yeah.
It took me a minute. Mom brain. But I did on my birthday. I gave them to them, and then it's so funny because like it's such a typical mom response. And since I'm like my daddy's girl, he was so happy. He was like, I think he even shed a tear. And then my mom, she goes, I thought this was a COVID test.
Oh my gosh.
And her first thing was just like, te tienes que cuidar, no puedes tomar, no puedes hacer otras cosas, da, 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 da. But like after I was just like, yeah. After a while, she was like, okay, like congratulations. But it wasn't, the congratulations was not her first thing to come out of the mouth. But it was funny. I was like, of course, that's just a typical mom reaction, you know, that I'm already used to. But other than that, everything went well. She helped me throughout the whole pregnancy and all that. So
that's good.
You know, she's getting better.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm getting better. I think actually that brought our relationship a little bit closer, me getting pregnant. And like, I don't know if because I was becoming a mom and whatnot, but it helped. It's
That's
better.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ours kind of took a little, I think you can relate with Mexican, like being Mexican, like boundaries. I think we talked about a lot about how they like, you know, like the old traditional Mexican like grandmas and moms and stuff like that, they have like these creencias and stuff like that, like how you said, like she was like, oh, don't do this, this. Like I remember when my mom like wouldn't let me go anywhere without a sweater on, because she's like,
when you were pregnant?
Yeah, because I'm like, you know how if you get cold you're gonna die when you're Mexican? Like she didn't want me to ever be cold, and there was like certain things that like I wanted to do and stuff like that, like even when she was born, and I was like, Mom, I don't want to do that. Or
that's how my mom was for like postpartum, la cuarentena.
Oh yeah,
you can't go out without a hat, or like you tienes que tapar, or you're supposed to be staying in bed like all day
for like 40 days. No,
I was like, my doctor did not tell me this.
I know,
it's not science.
but you can't argue with them.
No, they're stubborn little Mexicans.
Yeah. So we talked about getting pregnant, telling our parents. Oh,
now the process,
birth or being pregnant.
Girl, first trimester, nausea.
Yeah, it like
tiredness,
came immediately for me.
That's wild, huh? After we found out, it's like downhill. Like, but before we didn't know.
I feel like the day that I found out, I like started feeling shit. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like
I sometimes didn't believe it. I'm like, is there really something in here? Like, because you know, but like, dude, we both had morning sickness, and it wasn't also just morning sickness. If you guys don't know, it's not just morning sickness. Sometimes it can be throughout the whole day. But we were dying.
Yeah, I had to take medicine. Did you take medicine?
I tried, but I didn't. It couldn't keep it down. Like I couldn't eat anything. The only thing that brought me back to life was Pedialyte. Like, dude, there was times that I was like in my couch, just like, I can't. Like, I had no energy. I couldn't keep anything down. and then I was moving, so I was like, I can't even pack. Like I was suffering.
Yeah.
And I know you were too, because like
gosh.
we're just like
I remember like I hate throwing up because it just like it's like a whole body thing. Like it takes like everything out of you, you know. And I remember one time like Isaac found me on the floor in the bathroom because I had gone to like go throw up, and I was just like, you know. And you get like hot and sweaty and stuff like that. Yeah. And I remember I just felt like so weak after that. I literally just laid on the floor.
Like, I'm not going anywhere. You're like, I'm gonna have to come back.
And I just felt so weak. I couldn't even get up.
Yeah,
I was
like
no,
dude, it's bad. I know some people say that they don't get it. Like this time, I didn't really get it. Thank God.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like
And then we do want to do a disclaimer, because I know for me when I was pregnant and stuff like that, you get so many people's opinions and they're sharing your experience and telling you stuff without you even wanting, and a lot of the stuff is negative, so it kind of like freaks you out.
Yes, that's one thing I did want to talk about here, because I don't know why the world thinks that we love the negativity when we don't. Yeah, we are the people that try to stay on the positive side, and literally all the comments from people that we would get be like, oh, just wait till this, or wait till you can't sleep anymore, or wait till this, and like nothing was like, oh, enjoy the baby when they're newborn, their smell,
how
or like
cute they are,
like everything was always like negative. And I liked it that I had her, because we both noticed it, and we both were like, no, we're not gonna focus on that, and we're both gonna be like, just think of the positive of like everything, because there's so much positivity.
There's so many awesome things about becoming a parent that I think it outweighs the negatives, but I think I don't know why people do that.
I don't know either.
But I remember it's just, and then again, everyone's experience is different. So, you know, if you are pregnant or you're trying to get pregnant, like don't think that what happened to us is the exact same thing that it's going to happen to you. And one pregnancy to another pregnancy can be completely different. So again, we just want to do that disclaimer. This is our experience. If you don't want to listen to it, then you can skip. But yeah, that was something really hard too, because with the hormones and stuff like that, I remember.
Oh, that's another thing. I'm having a boy. She's having a girl.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if it has anything to do with it or if it doesn't. And it's just because we're two different people. But with Julian, I didn't have that much hormones, like
mood swings.
Like, and you did, huh?
Oh my gosh. I wanted to.
Yeah.
But I'll bleep that out. But it was like the darkest. Yeah. It was like the darkest time I have ever been in. It was just taking over me. Like I was working, which kudos to moms
that
work, because I was working from home. Like I legit was working with the laptop on my stomach, laying down, and I was still suffering because the nausea. Yeah. And then I remember like someone would like say something to me, like not even like yelling at me or anything, but I would just like start crying, and I would have to like get off the phone and be like, hey, like I need to go because I was just so sad. It was like getting the best of me.
That's a little bit more of my experience this time around. Like I totally get you. Yeah. But with Julian, I didn't.
Yeah.
I was happy. I'm sorry, but I was happy.
No, it's okay. And I love that for you. I don't wish what I went through.
This shows how different pregnancies can be.
Yeah. But so and then kind of backstory to that, I already like do struggle with like mental. I think we I don't know if you feel comfortable. We both struggle with like mental health and stuff like that. So I had already been on medication for a long time. But
and the fact that wasn't like helping.
It was like a very low dosage. Okay. But it had been pretty good. But then when the pregnancy happened, I was just like at my lowest point, and it was not working. And I remember I like had to take like a leave of absence from my job because of all like my emotions. I was already on antidepressants, and so I started going to therapy, which I hadn't gone to therapy in a while. But that I was like, yeah, I need this, and it honestly really helped. And then she had advised me to try and get my medication up, and so I did do that. And then once I did that, it was like awesome. And so it got way better, but still like I hated being pregnant. Like it was, I told Isaac I try to describe it to him, and I'm like, just picture your like think about like when you're sleeping and you're just uncomfortable, like you're uncomfortable all the time and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And it sucked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did not like being pregnant at all.
No, my moods were good and I didn't mind that. It was more of like my body, the whole body being uncomfortable and like what's the pelvic pains and all that. Like that is just like no one talks about that, to be honest. Like because my sisters were both pregnant, so I've kind of seen them go through it and theirs were very smooth. Like when I told her I had morning sickness, they didn't really believe me. They're like, you're exaggerating, blah blah blah, the negativity. And then she even told me a story that one of her coworkers had an IV. Like she would go to work with an IV because that's how much like bad it was, but she's all like, I don't believe it. And because I'm like, yeah, because your pregnancies, all three of them were smooth and you didn't get morning sickness.
And good for you.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes. And I was like, dude, I'm dying. Like,
yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough, but it was good also.
Yeah. Did you enjoy being pregnant?
To be honest, I slept a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't work.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, that was another thing. So like I said, I
quit for my mental state.
I should have. No, I wanted to, but I couldn't because I remember you got paid maternity leave. I think it was like you got paid like 3 months, and then you didn't have to work. So I was literally just trying to make it to that, so I could just take the time off and get paid for it. But it was so hard. But I'm glad I did it.
You did it.
Oh my gosh.
Got paid.
Yeah. And then I quit after because I was like,
that was the goal too.
Yeah. I don't know. I just, growing up, I didn't have my parents around that much.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that I was there for like everything and, grateful to our baby daddies.
Are just scary.
Yeah, you hear so many stories. Oh, I just saw a Reddit post. It was just like this random one where this mom said that she went to go pick up her kid from daycare and she saw like another kid like crawling out and like onto the street while she was picking her kid up. And so the daycare worker's like, oh, like he just slipped through the cracks. I'm like, bro, that's a child. Like if she wouldn't have noticed, like.
Or I've heard stories where like one person gets like 5 kids, and I'm just like, that's not doable, to be honest.
And then especially if you put them like little, like, and they're just like a baby, like now we know like they need something like every hour of the day. So I feel like a daycare worker can't be there 100% of the time. So then I just imagine my baby crying. No, I can't. I'm like, no, I've heard too much horror stories. It's not happening. Yeah. And I already wasn't working. So when I got pregnant, I'm like, even better. Yeah. So I got to enjoy that, which was a very, very, I'm very, very thankful for that. Yeah. And yeah, once we got bigger, we got a little bit better. That's when we started planning our baby showers, and that's where we were like, oh, she's so ready, and I'm just like, la, la, la. Yeah, I remember.
I'll get there when I get there.
Yeah, I remember we were already like painting the nursery and stuff like that. I remember I already had like my hospital bag. We were just very prepared. So when we first started,
when we had our conversation, our long conversation, that's when we started to know.
Before we
were pregnant.
Yeah, so before we even got pregnant, we were having like, again, conversations about just like life and stuff like that. And I don't know why we were like, oh, we should like put a note where we kind of like.
It was your great idea because you were like, oh, I have these conversations to myself. And where I
don't remember like how it started.
Yeah, I don't know either, but like that you write to yourself and like.
Oh, because I was like, you should do it. Like because I was like talking about time and how if you like write something right now, you could like the next time you read it, it's gonna be from the past, Lexia from the past, leaving a note for Lexia of the future. Yeah. So we were talking about that, and so we're like, oh, we should start like a little note, and we like took a picture, and then we shared it, and you can both of us edit it. Yeah. And so after we found out that we were pregnant, we kind of just like kept adding to the note, and it was cute because it was just like randomly, like whenever we would think about it. And so we would put, oh, like on this day we both found out we were pregnant, and then on this day we found out the gender, we're both gonna have a boy, one's gonna have a girl, like just kind of like
day they were born, or like we would write to each other like keep on going, like,
when things were hard. Oh, it's just so cute.
We need to add more to it.
I did add I think I added to it last time. No,
I'm not sure. I haven't looked at it. I can't remember. But I remember we added like for their birthday and stuff like that.
Oh, I think I put something about, maybe I didn't. Maybe I thought about it. Maybe about your new pregnancy.
Oh, no.
We have to add that.
Yeah.
But it's just something cute that I think it's cute how we just do it when we think about it, and then it could be like years and it's just like a little journal. It's so cute. Yeah. But yeah, it's so funny that we started that before we even knew, and then it was like a good way for us to kind of keep just it like going and like journaling kind of.
Yeah, journaling with a friend.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, you guys should try that out. It's
cute. Make a note in your phone, a little collaboration.
Yeah.
And then just add it.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's very nice just seeing like both of us go through the same thing. And
oh my gosh, I could not have done it without you.
No, me either.
Just like, because it's just so different. Like you get it, you know, like it like moms that have been through it, like you get it. And when you
sometimes you feel alone.
Yeah, because I could tell my husband like as much as I want, like, oh, I don't feel good, like, but he doesn't get it, you know. But like you would get it, and then we would help each other out because you kind of get into like holes, you know, and then you just have to remind ourselves.
We think our friends are not going to be our friends.
Yeah. We help each other out.
They're still our friends. We still kept them. They're still here.
And they're so awesome. And so that was our little no. And then the birth happened.
Yes. And your due date was the 7th, right?
Yep.
And then mine was the 12th of December.
Yeah.
But I ended up getting cholestasis of the pregnancy, which is when my liver was working too hard, since it's working for 2, that it started getting itchy. I don't know why that happened. So I started getting itchy, and for that reason, it wasn't like super like serious where it's like something's gonna happen to the baby, but just precautionary. They like to induce at like 38 weeks instead of going full like to the 40 weeks and stuff like that. So for that reason, we ended up I was gonna get induced, and then at my last appointment that I had, they ended up doing a membrane sweep, which is painful.
Yeah, I didn't like.
Warning! It is. Did you get it?
Yeah, I think I got it, but nothing happened.
Oh, yeah. I thank God something happened to me.
No,
because it was so painful. Like it was just painful. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
So yeah, that night I did it on the night before, on November 30. Is it 31st or 30?
No, 30. The last day.
Yeah,
30th.
30th. Yeah. So then on the next morning at midnight, I started getting contractions. I didn't end up going to the hospital till 5 a.m. because I was like, I can't. I was like, they're 5 minutes apart. They're getting painful. I was like, I can't handle this. Like, and in my head, I was like, I'm gonna see how long I can handle it. And so, like, once again, shout out to the woman that do labor without an epidural.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I requested that thing in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Like, I was a pussy.
Yeah, I didn't. I was like, no, there's no way. Yeah. No freaking way. I felt like my legs were gonna like shatter and collapse. Like, gosh. So I ended up going to the hospital at 5 a.m. Got treated to stay in there like around 7. I didn't end up having Julia until 8:07 p.m.
Wait, but tell them about how they were gonna send you home.
Oh yes, they were gonna send me home because my water wasn't broken and I was just 1 centimeter dilated. I didn't even make it. Like I'm like, my sisters would be like, oh, I made it to 4 centimeters and this and that. But the 4 centimeters, they would do it at home, and then they would, and I I couldn't make it. So they were going to send me home. So we're going back home. We went down the elevator. We walk out of the hospital. I had forgotten about that. Yeah. I walked out of the hospital. And as soon as we stepped on the pavement outside of the hospital, my water broke. And I was like, babe, I think my water broke. Let's go back in. I was like, babe, I think my water broke. He's like, are you sure? I was like, yes, I felt it pop like a balloon. Like it literally feels like a balloon pop. And then I honestly think the nurse that had checked me kind of helped.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because like they checked me twice. And like the second time she was like feeling, but she's like, no, you have to come back if your water breaks and you're only 1 centimeter. Yeah. And I was like, okay. But yeah, so we went back right up and that's when we got taken in. I can't believe I almost forgot about that. That's like a little epic story.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Because I remember you telling us.
Yeah, I was like, dude, we didn't even make it to the car.
Yeah.
We went back up and then that's when they took us in. And then probably like an hour later, I ended up getting the epidural. Like the nurse asked me right away. She's like, are you going to want the epidural? I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I don't know. I just feel like my pain was way more stronger than other people. I like to think that.
Yeah, mine was more than yours. I'm just kidding. No, it sucks, dude. My
mom was like, even like, how far are you? I'm like, what? She's like, no, why you didn't? I'm like, it was so painful. Oh my gosh,
it sucked.
Yeah. Oh. But yeah, so I ended up being in the room. Just ended up chilling, got the epidural. I was like, hey.
Yeah.
And then I did end up getting a little infection. And so then I got a fever. It was getting a little risky where they're like, we might have to do something else. They didn't want to say C-section. But I think that's what they were like saying, you know? And then the lady was like, oh, we're going to give you Tylenol to get the fever down. It wasn't going down. And then my nurse was so good, dude. Like, I'm so sorry for the people that have like bad experiences in their hospital, but I'm so thankful for my nurse. Like, she was so helpful. Like, she probably did like 90% of the work at the with my infection and helping me get my fever down.
Dude, they really do, because like as a doctor literally just came in to deliver, and then
and they're the ones giving you like the medication that you need, or like I ended up having ice bags all over my body, like my hair up, took off my socks. Forget the cute pregnancy. Like,
I'm pretty sure I was naked too.
Like, you know, supposedly I took some cute socks so I could give birth in them, and no, I was like, take it all off. I had ice all over me.
Supposedly I was gonna do makeup. Nope.
So then that helped, the ice and everything. So it got calmed down. At some point, Julian's heart rate though was going, because of the infection, was going higher than what it was supposed to be. So that was a little thing that we were getting worried about. But I don't know. It's like kind of blurry even now. But we ended up getting his heartbeat back to normal, and I was able to go into normal labor.
Yeah.
807, 7 pounds. No, 807 pounds. Hold on. He was born at 807 at 8 pounds and 7 ounces. Isn't that cool?
That is super cool.
Yeah, I'm never going to forget his date of his time of birth.
Well,
it was in the morning for years.
Yeah, it was like 4 a.m.
Yeah. So then, that happened. My first meal was in and out. My mom was there and she was like, you shouldn't be eating this.
Oh my God.
I'm like, Mom, I think the doctor or the nurse would have told me something if I can't eat whatever. And I even told the nurse, I was like, I'm fine like drinking soda and eating. She's like, oh yeah, like order whatever you want, this and that.
Have you seen those moms that get like the sushi boats delivered?
Oh, yeah. But so I ended up eating in and out for my first meal, and then our baby journey started there. Yeah. But let's hear yours. When was yours? What, 2 days later?
Yeah, 2 days. So, 2 days later. The next day my water broke.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
because then you had
you had the baby, and then the next day, and then I was like, oh, now it's my turn, and like just joking around, and I had gotten my emergency sleep and it hadn't worked, and I was kind of disappointed because I was like done being pregnant. And then trigger warning, my pregnancy, my delivery was kind of traumatic, so if you don't want to hear it, then just skip it, because
she'll put the time.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, because it's I didn't even watch my birth my birth video until like months later.
I watched mine so many times.
Oh
like,
no.
That thing came out of me.
Yeah, no, I barely watched it like a couple months ago, but so we were so mine started off, so you delivered it and I was like, oh my gosh, like I was like trying to
and
ask
I wasn't
you
supposed to till the 12th, and it was funny because you even were like, I kind of hope you have Julian first, but I was like, it's not till the 12th. But then I had my whole cholestasis thing, and then I ended up giving birth first.
I was like asking you a question, like I was like, I know you just had a baby, but how was it, like tell me everything. So yeah, and then like I think later in the next day in the morning, my water broke, and mine was kind of different. Yeah. Mine was just kind of like a trickle. It was
mine was like a balloon pop.
Really? Yes, I woke up and I went to pee, and then I remember I laid back down and I just kept feeling something kind of like come out, but it wasn't like a gush or anything. And I was like, and I like woke Isaac up because he hadn't even gotten up for work, and he had to work that day. And so he was like, and I was like, babe, I think my water broke. And then so we called the hospital, and they're like, oh, just like kind of keep an eye on it if it's just like, because it might be other stuff, you know. Yeah. And so
the mucus plug.
Yeah, and it just kept coming out. And so I was like, no, I think it's my water.
That's the thing that like when you're in labor, they don't tell you, or like it's not talked about a lot. Yeah. That like you're leaking throughout the whole labor process.
Yeah. Yeah,
like you're just not just like wet. Yeah, like like you're in your bed.
That's why you get naked, because it's like you don't want to be all like wet, you know. Yeah. But so my water broke, and then we called the hospital, and they're like, oh, just wait like a few minutes or whatever, and if it keeps going, and it kept going. So Isaac like called off, and he's like, hey, like my wife is going over, I have to go take her. So we went, and I remember I started kind of like getting contractions like on the way to like up to our floor or whatever, and I was like, oh, if this is what it's like, I can do this. No, I got so much worse.
You didn't start getting contractions till you were in the hospital?
Yeah.
Also, your water broke, and then it took a little bit to
Yeah, I remember like we drove, like nothing was happening, like, and then when I was like in the elevator, I was like, oh, like wait, I'm like, I can do this if this is how it is.
It feels like period cramps, right?
Yeah. And so then it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And mine, I took my epidural when I was 2 centimeters.
What's it?
We're fucking pussies, but
hey, I like to think, because Julian had a short umbilical cord. I didn't really research it for like what reason, but I like to think that he was trying to come out sooner than what he did, but he was like bungee jumping because his cord was short, so he couldn't go down.
I just picture
oh my god, like he was trying to get lower and lower, but he couldn't because the umbilical cord was short. So then I like to play it in my head that like that's the reason why it was so painful so soon, and like he could have came out sooner, and like, you know, trying to make myself feel better.
Yeah. No, we still did that shit. That was hard. But yeah, at 2 centimeters, I got my epidural, and before I had even gotten pregnant, I just thought an epidural was just like a needle that they just like put medicine. But no, it's like, if you don't know, it's like a tiny little tube, and so
that stays in you, right?
Yeah, so you put the needle, and it has like, and it's hollow, and it leaves a little tube in your spine the whole time. So that's fucking crazy.
You're all taped up.
Yeah, and you're all taped up, and so the little tube is hooked up to like the medicine that they're giving you to numb you. And girl, I know why people get addicted to fentanyl, because I had fentanyl. I don't know if you.
Yeah, it was fentanyl. Yeah.
That shit was crazy. Oh my god, like, because they do it like in a certain spine. What is it called? Like I don't know, like a certain.
Anyways, we don't know, but
yeah,
you know what we're talking about.
One of the spine segments.
Dude, I'm blanking out because I know what that is.
Yeah, I don't know. But so yeah, it was they do it like on a certain spine segment, and literally from like that line, like your body is completely numb, like just like a straight line. Like I could touch here and I could feel it, and then I could touch here and not feel it.
Yeah, dude, our legs were numb.
Yeah, numb. I remember they were like, oh, if you can move, like, if you can move around, because they needed to like do some stuff, can you like move? And I was like, my legs don't work.
Yeah.
And it was so weird because you're like trying to move it, and it's not working. And then another thing that I don't think I knew this, but so you don't overdose, obviously, because it's fentanyl. They do it like you press a button just only when you need it, but at a certain point you can't just keep pressing it. You have to like wait a certain amount. And it's for my next pregnancy, I'm definitely gonna try to wait as much as possible because it started wearing off.
I actually didn't press the button till, well, I don't think I ever pressed it at all.
Really?
No, but I did run out, and right before I started to push.
Yeah.
But they just switched it, and then it just got like it just continued. Yeah.
Well, no.
My sister-in-law, she did get a button, and she could push it. But
mine ran out. Like they would still give me medicine, and I could still continue pushing, but it almost like wears off. And it stops using, like you stop feeling it because your body's kind of getting used to it.
I wondered about that because for my experience, like it was like there the whole time, and when it ran out, they just replaced it. So then I was like, what are these girls talking about that mine wore off, that I could feel it when I was giving birth and this and that. So I didn't understand it. I was like, they just refilled mine, and I still didn't feel anything.
No, I was pressing that button like because it would whenever you could press it. I think it was like every like 15 minutes or something like that. You had to wait. Once it was the 15 minutes, it would light up green, and I would press it immediately. Like I was literally watching it.
Also, yours would like kind of wear off, and then you'd press it again, and then it would go back to normal, or like,
well, no, it was so the button, like I think it just was having constantly like putting it in my body, but when I needed more, and I needed it, oh my god, I was literally like a fucking exorcism. I was like and it was just so painful. And then by the time that I did have to start pushing, I was starting to feel shit. And sorry, it starts getting a little traumatic. And so yeah, then I started feeling stuff. And then the baby, I only pushed for like 30 minutes. I think I did like 10 pushes, and she was out. She was perfect, beautiful, and stuff like that. And then again, like the epidural started to wear off, and I started to feel like pain, and I was like, oh, it's already hurting. And so, I forgot to say that my labor was like 20 hours. And
mine was 13.
Yeah, mine was like 20 hours. And then, so this was like on the 1st in the morning. And then it was it was on the second. And I was literally at the hospital all day. And then you can't like eat anything either. And I had just been awake without eating. Like I was just exhausted. So
did you sleep?
I think I did in the beginning, but not really after, because I could still feel shit.
Well, after I got my fever, I didn't sleep either. And did you get chills? I got the chills so bad.
I don't remember. No?
Yeah, I think you would have known. You probably didn't then, because like I was just like like it was not controllable. Like
I think I was naked. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Not. If you were naked, I don't think you had them then.
Yeah, probably, or maybe I just blocked it. Yeah. But yeah, so then so the baby came out. It was beautiful, awesome. And my sister and my mom and Isaac were there. And I remember like the doctor kind of like kept like kind of working on me, and she had to like sew me up and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, like she starts like telling me like, you need to breathe, and it was kind of hurting. So I was like, ugh. And then she like wasn't telling us anything that was going on, but you can kind of tell that she was starting to panic a little bit, but she wasn't trying to show it. And then all of a sudden she's just like, oh, can you call the surgeon and the anesthesia, like blah blah blah, and get like like in Grey's Anatomy, like get an OR ready, and again, she wasn't telling us anything, and within like 30 seconds there was just like 10 people in our room. And again, nothing, like no one was telling us anything because everything was just happening so fast. And then all of a sudden she's like going inside me. Oh, sorry.
No, I didn't have an experience that intense by you, but I also did have a little bit of bleeding, which I forgot to tell. Yeah. But it, like they put their whole hand in there, huh?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And then again, my epidural was starting to hurt. And so she starts like panicking, and she's like, and she finally says like, I can't stop the bleeding, so you need to just like breathe and try to stay calm. And I was fucking feeling everything. Yeah. And so she ended up like
I can.
She legit like had both hands inside of me with like a scalpel or like something. It was like cutting shit out. Oh. And it was hurting so bad because the epidural was already wearing off, and I could feel the pain. And this whole time she's like yelling at me, like trying to calm down. You have to breathe. And like you said, like my nurse was literally a fucking angel. Like not saying like anything about the doctor, you know, but like the nurse was just so helpful. Like she was holding my hand, and she was like, I know that this is really hard for you right now, but it is really important that you breathe. And like while the doctor's like all the commotions going on, she was like really like talking to me, and I'm pretty sure I was looking at her instead of like Isaac. And then Isaac was like holding my other hand, and my mom and my sister were like kind of taking care of the baby. But dude, Isaac never once left my sight until like everything kind of calmed down. And then I remember I was passing in and out. I got like pale as fuck. Like I had like no blood in me. And I remember I just like kept like, I would pass out and then like come back. And then the doctor would be like, say like, like breathe, like, you know, and then it was so funny because you know how they have you sign like a thing if you have like if you want a blood transfusion or something. And I remember like signing off of it, and I was like, oh, that's interesting that you have to sign off of it. I wonder like if people don't do that, you know. And she and then it just so happens that I needed one, so they brought blood and well,
they do that because
for religious
Jehovah's Witnesses are the ones that don't take it. But
I remember just like thinking about it, like, oh, like I didn't think that I was actually gonna need it, you know.
You're and like, so okay.
And so I did end up needing one. And then after everything calmed down, she was like, she's like, okay, yeah, like we're good. I ended up not going to get a C-section, and she ended up being able to stop the bleeding, but I guess like my placenta had still been stuck to like one of my walls, and that was what was bleeding, and so she had to cut it and like sew it up like from the inside. And
how do you even do that?
I don't know, dude, but she had both hands in there and like was like sewing shit. Isaac like was watching everything, and he was like freaking out. And you know how like they have to count like the towels or whatever that they use to make sure they don't leave anything in you. I don't remember the exact number, but I remember it was in the 20s. And so they were just like, it was like a stack of towels with my blood. It was fucking crazy. And then once everything calmed down, she like told us. And then I remember Isaac, like I think he was like on adrenaline mode. And then once they told him that I was okay, he went to go sit down, and he like almost passed out. And I was
like, I need a breather.
Yeah, but I thought it was so sweet. Like I don't think he even, you know, I'm sure like he loves Zara and stuff like that, but he didn't even like go over there.
No,
he just made sure that I was okay first, and it was just so sweet. But yeah, that was super fucking traumatic. And I couldn't watch my birth vlog.
I can't imagine the pain. Like, did your sister keep recording?
No.
They made her stop.
Yeah, she stopped. Once the baby came out.
Okay.
But yeah, no, like not even kidding. Like I get like PTSD, and when I talk about it, I can almost like feel the pain. Oh. And I remember.
So thank you for doing that.
Yeah,
for telling your story right here.
It's. I remember. I was watching this YouTuber, and she was like kind of explaining her birth blog or whatever. And I legit, like, I felt like my body was like, I had to like stop watching because everything that she was saying was just like triggering me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, ended up after that, everything was fine. Like we had to stay in the hospital for a few days more because I
did too.
Oh yeah.
Well, after you told your story, I'm just like,
oh no, you're okay.
I had not the same, like my placenta did not stuck, but I also did bleed a little bit more, where she stuck her hand in and she was like, but she didn't make it that. I think I stopped, but she asked me, she's like, did you have COVID while you were pregnant? And I was like, yeah, which they survive okay.
Yeah.
Didn't you get COVID too?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then she asked me, she's like, did you get COVID? And then I was like, yeah. And she's all like, I've noticed this with my patients that've gotten COVID, like they bleed a lot more, where she had to stick her hand too, but like it wasn't nothing like yours, where it was so intense and like that. And then I did rip, and that's where I felt my pain more, but I can feel your pain was 10 times more.
No, and that doesn't invalidate your pain, because it's, you know, everybody's different as well, but it was just hard. Like, and then we stayed in the hospital for a few days. I legit couldn't do shit. Like and they wanted me to like make sure that the blood wasn't like You know?
yeah. They wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
And you get antibiotics too?
I don't remember.
Maybe. Because I had to take antibiotics too to make sure that I forgot all that stuff. But
yeah, I don't remember. It's all a blur.
Yeah.
But
what was your first meal?
I don't remember. Actually, they gave us it was cute. The hospital would give you a birthday dinner, and it was actually really good. It was steak and potatoes and a little dessert. Yeah, and a little cake because it was our baby's birthday. So we took advantage of that. And after that, everything was fine, but it was rough because I legit couldn't do shit. And again, my nurse, dude, I know that that's probably their job and they're used to it, but she would literally pull my pants down for me. I would pee and she would wipe for me and help me do, oh my gosh, bless
Put the pads
them.
on there.
Dude,
Everything.
the diapers came in clutch. I used them for longer. I was already done bleeding. I'm I'm still gonna wear them. They're comfortable. It was so nice.
But yes. Also, one thing that I wanted to touch upon is the cluster feeding that I was not aware of.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if Zara went through it, but the first night they trick you. They fall asleep. They're angels. Second night is when Julian started cluster feeding, and we would set him down, fall asleep, and he would wake up again and he wanted to eat. And I was like, I just fed him. And then they say you're supposed to feed him every 2 hours, So I was like, what? Do I keep him giving him more? This and that.
Yeah.
You're a first time parent. And then thankfully we had the balls to ask the nurse, and we weren't just And she's like, oh yeah, they cluster feed. And then I'm like, well, it would have been good to know that I would have been a little bit more prepared, but I didn't know about that. So if you are a first-time parent, the babies cluster feed sometimes, and just give them all the milk they need.
Yeah, and were you breastfeeding at the hospital or doing formula?
Yeah,
okay.
I was breastfeeding.
Yeah.
So I would just latch them on, which is also a whole other process.
So we could talk about that too.
Yeah.
So for me personally, just for reasons I don't feel comfortable having her on my breast. So I actually did pumping, and again, my research type A brain, I literally did all the research, and I had started filling up syringes with colostrum.
Yeah, I didn't get colostrum.
Yeah.
She did. She got a lot of colostrum.
I had so many syringes, and I don't know if it's this new thing about just kind of pumping, but they were the nurses were so shook that I had so much, and they they didn't even really know what to do because they're oh,
because you took it all.
Yeah, I brought it in a Ziploc bag, and I was like, can you put this in the freezer? And I had heard that that's a thing, but I guess it's becoming more common,
Yeah.
But yeah, I just didn't want to do the actual breast thing, so I was pumping, and I actually kind of liked that was probably my favorite part about the first few months. I don't know, I just thought it was cool that I could make milk.
Dude, her thing would be
yeah, I would show the girls, and I'd shoot it out, and it would literally go across the table.
I think that's the route I'm gonna go for with this baby.
Yeah,
because the whole latching on for me was so difficult. Julian didn't want to.
Let me know if you have any questions.
He had a lip tie, tongue tie, so it was difficult. And then I also wasn't producing as much milk.
Yeah.
So, and then Julio had to go back to work. So my buddy, I didn't have as much support, which I needed a lot of it. So, and then washing the pump and
oh my gosh,
having to feed the
we're in the trenches when you first have
the lactation consultant. She's like, yeah, you gotta feed him and then pump on the other side, and then once you're done feeding, you gotta keep pumping, and then you feed him again. And dude, it's a full-time job, and
you're still hurting, and you have no sleep.
My vagine was hurting for so long, but shout out to Ashley. She made us some aloe vera.
Patsicles?
Patsicles.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah, they have the aloe vera cream on there or whatever.
And she froze them. So it was pads with ice on there. It was so nice.
These are Frida, the vagine angle.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I couldn't breastfeed. I tried, but And I don't know why I think about it now. And I'm like, I don't know why I didn't just try pumping like you.
Yeah.
And then giving it to
I
him
will
in a
give
bottle.
you all the...
Like, it didn't even go through my head. Like, I don't know why. Because I think I was just so focused on him being able to latch on and get, you know, that I did. It didn't cross my mind to be like, oh, just pump and then feed it to him in the bottle.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
And then I feel like if I would have done that, maybe I would have produced more milk if I would have kept trying. But I kind of just was like, no, I can't. I'm just going to do formula.
Yeah.
And
which is completely
fine.
okay.
Yeah. The doctors say it's fine.
You
They
just
still
do
grow,
whatever is right for you. You know, like for me, like I did not feel comfortable, so I just pumped. But that was, I loved it. Like, so if you are going to be a mom and you're interested in pumping, or like a lot of full-time moms that can't breastfeed their babies, they do have to pump. The subreddit exclusively pumpers, I think, exclusively pumpers, was a godsend. Literally had so many tips, like any question that I had. There's so much more than that there is to it. Like you kind of have to find like a good pump that works for you.
The whole little
flanges.
Yeah.
The flanges. Like I had gotten like a nice, like super like high tech through my insurance, like a breast pump. I used it maybe like the first week, and I actually found that I like the hand one better.
What I've been hearing. That,
Yeah.
like the hand one is like the way to go.
So I would do a hand one, and then I would do a haka on my other one.
I told you about the haka.
Yeah.
Dude, that thing
Oh my
would
gosh.
come in clutch.
It was so awesome. So once I found like everything, like there's inserts you have to do, like there's so much kind of like science to it. I also took like these vitamins too.
Oh, the drinks,
the drinks that Ashley
body
got
armor.
me. Oh, the body armors too. Like just so much. And so I actually ended up having a oversupply towards the end, and I wanted to be done pumping. So I just started freezing it, and I think I ended up getting like 3 months worth of frozen milk, which was nice because then I could stop sooner.
Yeah.
But that was so cool. Like I'll put a picture up of like my freezer, how I had it.
All organized.
Yeah.
Milk.
Yeah, and everything was dated, and like it was really cool. And just the fact
You're like, I fucking did that.
Yes, yeah, it's so cool. And then I kind of like it would hurt like when they would get engorged, but I kind of like the feeling of like your boobs filling up with milk. Yeah, and then the release. But yeah, so then we did that, and then after, I think my goal was to do 6 months, but I think I only ended up doing the 3, and then after that we switched to formula. But I'm glad that I was able to do like both.
Yeah.
But I think for my next pregnancy, I am going to try to start from the beginning to start freezing. That way, like...
Oh, you have a bigger supply.
Yeah. And like now I know like how to stimulate and all that stuff. Like I got it. I got it. I'm like excited for that part because I'm going to master that shit.
I'm definitely going to get tips from you this time around.
Yeah.
But that's my goal this time, to just pump and not worry so much about the baby being able to latch. Because last time I was so into like him being to latch and being him eating directly, you know?
Yeah.
And that it didn't cross my mind. Like I think I just focused so much into one thing that like it didn't. And when that didn't happen, I just was like,
yeah, a lot of women like don't talk about that, and it can be very
stressful.
Yeah.
You feel bad.
And you feel like it's supposed to be natural, you know? And then when it doesn't happen, like a lot of women feel like they're inadequate or whatever.
I would even tell Julio sometimes, like, babe, I want to do it so much, and like, but I'm like, I can't, and then I feel bad, and he's like, babe, I am here for whatever you want to do. If you want to switch, like it's fine. If you want to keep trying, we can keep doing that. But honestly, I feel like if he had a little bit more time off, it would have been a little bit more helpful. But I'm not putting the blame on him or anything, because we gotta make some money.
It's America,
somehow.
okay? We don't get fucking. I had Isaac luckily had paternity leave, but it was only 2 weeks, and it was really nice. Oh yeah,
so that's
it was so awful. But
dude, we were panicking. Like I was like, I just cried because I'm panicking that Julio's leaving me. Like, what if I can't do it? And you're like, oh my god, me too.
It's hard. Like,
I was panicking, but after a few days of us doing it alone during the day, we're like, oh, it's not that bad. It's the night a little that we need.
Advice for anybody out there: like, make sure you have a good partner that is supportive and will help you.
Choose your partner wisely.
It has so much to do with how it goes because. I think our partners were so good, and
I don't know how our parents did it back in the day.
Yeah,
Like,
with
my
dad's
mom
not
has
helping.
said stories that she had to take the bus to go give birth because my dad was sleeping and he had to go to work that day. That I don't think he made it. I don't know if he made it to the labor. I don't know which sister it was, but I don't know if he made it to the labor or he came after.
Yeah.
Like, she took the
our
bus.
generation is getting more involved,
Yeah.
luckily.
Yeah, I'm
But-
like, I can't believe it.
Yeah, but first, yeah, make sure that you pick a good partner, and then also during those first months, like, don't take anything personally because you guys are both gonna fucking
Yeah.
be struggling.
You're both learning at the same time.
Yes, and then as long as you try to give each other at least 4 hours of sleep, if that's all you can get, because I feel like that was our sweet spot.
Yeah.
Like, as long as you got 4 hours, you were good, and we would take shifts. And then
turns.
that was also like one of the main things. Why another reason why I wanted to do pumping, because I didn't want to be the sole person in charge, because I didn't want to be trying to like feed her through the night while Isaac's like getting sleep. You know,
it was tough.
yeah. So so that was nice. So we would have like a schedule, and then when it was my time to sleep, I knew that he had milk and he could feed her, you know, so that was nice. And then you're just in the trenches for the first few months. Just make sure you're communicating.
Communication.
Yeah, if it's not
switching off. Just
and it's not always gonna be 50-50 in the beginning, especially because like we just gave birth to, we're healing.
Dude,
so
the freaking postpartum like sweats and
everything.
I don't even know what else we had. Like, it was just so it's like a unique experience. It's just like like your body's going through this like detox almost.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then you're just like pregnant one day and then the next you're not. Like, you're all soft too. It's crazy.
It's just there. I was in pain for a good while.
Yeah.
I don't know how there's some people that like just get up and keep. I'm like, I'm over here like wobbling. I had to sit on a pillow because like I couldn't just sit straight on the couch because my stitch. I was just like, oh.
Yeah,
so painful, but it's great. It's
once you get through all that. I mean, I always say, like, obviously it's gonna be hard because it's new. You know, just think about like jobs that you've had or new relationships. Like, everything is hard when it's new, you know. But once you kind of get in the hang of it, honestly, like, this might be controversial for me to say, but I feel like like having a baby is literally like dogs. Like, you kind of you know, like, it's all about like repetition, a routine. Routine is everything. A big resource too that we use is taking care of babies. Did you?
Oh yeah.
We'll put a link down below. But
I didn't. You don't have to buy it.
don't buy it. Don't buy it. Yeah, a lot of the content on there is free and it is very, very helpful. But it's literally like a science. Like the wake windows. I know that me and you like we would read about that. Like, it works.
My sister used to laugh at me. Damn, my sister used to shit on me too much. They used to laugh at me because I used to use an app to track when he slept, when he ate, when he took a dump, like, and I would keep up with it till like he was a full year. And to me that was so helpful because I didn't have to think about it. And if you have a routine, it'll go that way. Like, you will not have to really worry about like, oh, they're hungry now or they want more milk or like it goes like the routine. Like,
we also tracked everything for her in the beginning. We didn't do it for that long. I think it was like up to 6 months.
I had to because my brain. I'm like, when did I feed? I'm like, no, I did the full year.
No, we did like 6 months, but it was like really good to notice patterns too, because like even though there is like a routine and stuff like that, like babies are different, you know. And so I remember we were always on like an opposite schedule. Like, when your baby was awake, mine was sleeping. But when you're like what is it called, tracking all that, you start noticing patterns and you're like, oh, I noticed that, you know, she's every day she's been pretty much sleeping like this much and stuff. And it's just so easy to kind of like go off back of that. So like I would say like kind of let your baby like tell you what they need, but also like kind of
keep track of it
and see if you notice any patterns, and
you'll see also like, oh, she's eating more now, or they're sleeping more, or, oh, we can take away a nap, and like, you know.
Yep.
And that goes back to the whole taking care of babies. I would always like 6 months milestones.
Yes.
Like looking up the milestones every like few months or every month. I think I did every month, to be honest, the first year. It just would help so much because they'll be like, oh, at this age, your baby should be taking about this much naps and should be eating about this much. And then I would just go off that. And that was helpful for me a lot. Like, just knowing
and it's
all
like
the
trial and
different
error
milestones.
It was also like very validating, like when all of a sudden they're not sleeping that well, and then you look it up and they're like, oh yeah, there's like a 3-month regression and stuff like that.
Regressions, bro.
Yeah, and it's like a trial and error too. Like, so you would try, you know, like if you went online and it said, oh, wake windows for 6 months is like, I don't know, like 2 hours or whatever, or it could be 3 hours. So then one day you would be like, oh, well, let's try the 2. And if that didn't work, then you would go to the 3. And then, oh, that kind of does work. Or even like bedtimes and stuff like that. Like, oh, she sleeps better when she goes to sleep at this time rather than this time. So then it's like, you're figuring it out, you know? And then once you get it down, it's like it's a science.
Yeah,
and
it's just a routine.
It's so nice. Like me and Isaac, and again, this is totally different for, you know, you do what is right for your family. But me and Isaac were very adamant about not having her sleep in our room, only because we wanted to just have time to ourselves, you know, like we love her to death and everything, but we still wanted to have like our own time. So we got it down to where she would sleep at 7 a.m. and then go to sleep at 7 p.m. And then because she was in her room, we would be able to be up, watch shows, like do stuff. And it was really nice. And we would get that time off. And then we wouldn't have to worry about like waking them up and stuff like that. And so, and then also I can barely sleep with Isaac in the bed. Like I feel like I was just so paranoid that I was going to like lay on her or anything like that. So we just, at like 4 months, I think we moved her to her crib, and it was just so much better. Like I didn't have to worry about waking her up. And then babies are fucking loud, so they'd be like, you know? And so I couldn't sleep, and so it was just better for us. And so I'm glad that we've been kind of keeping up with that. Till this day, we still haven't like had her sleep with us. There's some days where she's like going through it, and I'm like,
you're tempted.
No. Yeah, but yeah, that was what we did, and it was really nice. So a lot of the times from like 7 to midnight, we're just chilling. She does have her days.
That's the beauty of having a bedtime, because I know everyone's different. I know some people put their baby to sleep a little bit later and this and that, but having a bedtime, I think, is so helpful. Just so you can have your own time and get to enjoy it with yourself, your spouse, or whatever it is.
And it's like that balance. Like you don't feel like super overwhelmed, like that you're just constantly.
Mine was a little bit different because we're in a smaller place right now, and Julian's crib was right next to us, and I did keep him in his crib till like he was 8 months, and then he got sick and he slept with me, and then he never left. But I told Julio, okay, I'll let him sleep with us as long as like I don't have to go to sleep with him, or like, you know, like if
just sleep in the same room.
And which he's been doing okay. You know, he has his days where he'll ask for me more than others, but like, well, he goes down at 8. So then like he goes down, we still have our chill time, we still get to, you know, go out, hang out with each other, watch TV, chill, you know. So I just really like that they don't have to sleep with us.
But yeah, and then the same thing, doing a routine. So like every single night we like do a shower, we do a bath, we read a book, I lotion her up, and that kind of like prepares them like, oh hey, like I know that I'm gonna be going to bed soon. So yeah, it's a lot of trial and error, but I think we've talked about this before, how it's not as hard as people made it seem.
No, it's not.
So if you're out there and you're thinking about having a baby, or you're thinking that it's really hard, it is hard. But it's not as hard as people make it out to be.
There's more positives than negatives. They're trial and error. Google shit up. Like,
that's something that we're so grateful for.
Go to your resources. Ask advice. Not to the people that are negative though.
Yeah.
Because I'll be like, oh, just wait for this, or just wait till they can't do this, or just wait. Whatever.
And then advocate for yourself. If people are crossing your boundaries or just saying something like, hey, I don't need to hear that. And I didn't ask.
Yeah.
Unsolicited advice is the worst. So especially when you're pregnant and like blah, 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 and you're tired and
the one that I hated the most. Are you sleeping?
Yeah.
Oh, are you getting enough sleep? Yeah, I am. Like, my mom would always be like, when the baby's sleeping, you should sleep too. But I was like, I'm not tired.
Yeah.
Like, surprisingly, it's going pretty good. Like, you know, like he'll wake up, he'll eat, and he'll go to sleep. And then just put him in his bassinet. And sometimes we would struggle with putting him in his bassinet and him staying. But it wasn't where we were up all night or like, and I don't know, once again, if we were just blessed with like
a good
really good babies
and good partners too.
Yeah, because obviously Julio would wake up as well. And dude, he would be so funny. Sometimes he would pull his computer chair, and if we were having rough nights, like he would just carry him on his computer chair and just be rocking him right there. I'm like, oh my god, you're so silly. But no, like I don't know why people focus on the negative.
I also do think where, like how you said, like go to your resources and stuff like that. Like it's so, like I don't, like I think back in the day maybe you would ask your doctors more things, but now I just Google shit or go on Reddit or taking care of babies or stuff like that. Like there's so much information at your disposal, which makes it less scary because you know that you can kind of look stuff up and stuff like that. But yeah, it's not as hard as people make it out to be. And dude, it changes your life.
They're beautiful.
Oh my gosh, it makes you slow down. Like there's been a lot of, so I don't want to say I had anger issues, but
let it out.
Yeah, I would always be very like emotional, and that's kind of in the beginning why I didn't want to have kids, because I was afraid that I wasn't going to be patient. Like I never thought I had like motherly instincts or stuff like that. And then just when you see them and they're just like the most amazing human and they make you smile, and like I thought that I was gonna like snap at her like if she did something, and it's just so, I don't know, like it just puts things into perspective that like things are not that serious. And so like for me, like I'm very, very clean and OCD and like and I was, whenever she started eating food, I was like, I don't want her to get dirty, and like, you know, and she would try to rub it, and I'm like, you know, but now I'm like, in the grand scheme of things, like what's the worst that's gonna happen? I'm just gonna have to clean it up, okay, but I'm not taking, like that could be like a memory for her, you know, and so I don't want to take that away from her, so I just let him be a kid, and I've learned that.
Be kids, let them learn. They're so smart. Like,
oh my gosh, there's so much, they can do so much already.
Give them the freedom that they deserve. I am very much of like, if you see a kid doing something, just let them do it. Let them figure it out. Like they'll be okay.
Yeah.
They're not crying or they're not hurt. Just let them do it. They got it. Like they are smarter than what we think.
Yeah, for real. I remember when people would say like that their kids have been dancing since they were like 1, I'd be like, what the fuck? No, like 1-year-olds don't do that. And now our kids are 1 and they do like so much. Julian's playing soccer. Zara's
talking her brains out.
She gets it from me, obviously, but she's so cute. We were just talking about how she loves cookies, and she'll just go to the kitchen and be like, cuckoo, cuckoo, and I'm like, no cuckoo, it's 7 a.m.
Oh my god, like today I want to tell you a little like how you get impressed every single day. Like yesterday or the day before,
every day is something new.
Yesterday or the day before, I went to Sephora and we left. I was with Julian and it was just me and him, and we left and he wanted to walk, and I was like, okay, but you gotta hold my hand because we're going into the parking lot where there's cars and whatnot, and he didn't want to hold my hand. He wanted to walk independently, which I understand, I get it, you know, but I was like, Papa, like you need to hold my hand because there's cars coming and I just don't want anything to happen. He threw a tantrum. He sat down on the ground, threw a tantrum. I had to pick him up and just carry him and walk to the car. And I was like, I was like, I'm sorry, my love, but you cannot walk on your own freely. I need you to hold my hand. And I explained to him,
Yes.
I was like, because there's cars, like I don't want anything to happen when we're on the road or whenever we're somewhere where there's cars. You need to hold my hand just because of the safety. But when you're at the park or when you're somewhere else where like you can walk freely.
Yeah.
And then today he proves me so much.
Really?
We went to Walgreens, me and Julio and Julian, and Julio's like, I'm gonna let him walk in the store. So we let him walk and he was walking freely, you know. He was getting a little touchy with the stuff, but like I was like, that's not yours, let's put it back.
Yeah.
And then like he walked through the whole store, and then we got out and I was like, give me your hand, we're gonna walk through the parking lot, there's cars. He gave me his hand, no fight, no tantrum, nothing. And I was like, I can't believe I taught him that. It was like, babe, you teach him so much things. And I was like, I know, but like just seeing it, like he actually listened and understood my words.
Yeah. Like seeing them think is like so crazy.
Yeah. I was like, oh, baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like a little cute story for her that happened today that I was like, oh my God, like he knows.
Dude, they know. And like what, like with Zara, they catch on to everything too, and it like catches you off guard sometimes. But like like when the dogs are barking, I usually like tell them to shh. One day, like out of the blue, the dog started barking and she just started going shh, shh. And I'm like, I mean, I didn't teach her that, but like she just caught on to that.
And they just see.
Yeah. Or like, I remember I had seen this Reddit post about a parent. They're like, oh, my kid is so rude. He doesn't say please or thank you, like blah, 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 blah. Like, how can I teach him to be please or thank you? And they were being fucking dragged through the mud. And I felt so bad for that parent. But they were like, oh, if they're not saying please and thank you and you think that they're rude, is because you're rude and you're not saying please and thank you. And I was like, oh, snaps. And so I started saying please and thank you.
Now.
Yeah. And so like it still catches me off guard, and it's the cutest thing ever. But anytime that I give her something, she just goes do like thank you. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, my little polite girl. Like, oh, it's just so magical.
She's a cleaner, Zara.
Oh yeah. Yeah. She likes to clean. Yeah. She sees like a napkin and she'll just start like cleaning.
But I mean, we could talk about this all night long.
Yeah, we could.
Is there anything else you need to add?
Yeah, just the last thing that I wanted to add is just that they heal something in you. Like when it's almost like you're seeing yourself as a kid and going through life, and how not that our parents were like terrible or anything, that they did the best that they could with what they had.
Yeah.
But it's like you want to be how you wish your parents would have been with you. Or like I remember like I would always see like movies and TV shows and stuff like that of like parents like reading to their kids at night, and I always wanted that.
And now you get to
every time she loves reading, and every time she brings me a book, like I literally stop what I'm doing and make sure that I read it to her, because it's so special. And I don't know why. It's not like I was even a big reader when I was little. Like I don't even know how to read now. I'm just kidding. But it's just like, it's just so nice that I can do that for her.
Healing yourself from it too.
Or like when like my parents weren't the most loving to each other, and me and Isaac like, oh my God, love each other to death. And sometimes like she'll just be chilling there and me and him are like kissing and hugging and being silly, and we'll always stop and be like, wow, Zara, you're not gonna have like an interesting life story, you're not gonna have like any trauma because you have like a loving home with two loving parents that love you and love each other. And and I'm just like, so
we're fixing the
breaking generational curses.
Yes. And I love that. Like, we're so aware of it that it's not going to be the same for them.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I'm sure we'll still traumatize them in some way, but it's not going to be the stuff that we were traumatized about,
Look at us. We're here with
waterworks,
mental illnesses.
I know. Yeah. So if we can do it, you can.
Yes.
No, but honestly, they're just...
they're amazing.
Yeah.
And we could just keep going about them. Like, they're just the best thing that could happen to us, to be honest.
Yeah.
They're a handful, but worth it. Like,
yeah. And I think that we've just to kind of end on the note that we've done a really, really good job, and I'm proud of us.
I'm proud of us too.
Yeah, like we're just so good about like balancing, and one thing that we were really scared of is us losing ourselves. But as long as you're like actively trying and prioritizing, like that's one of your priorities, then you're good.
You don't just have to be a mom.
Exactly.
You can be a mom.
You could be
still be
Z, and you can be Lex, and then you just so happen to have a child.
I needed that.
Yeah, and just have like a really good support system. And then just remember, like the best, like the parents that are the best are the ones that are the happiest. So if you're happy, then your baby's gonna be happy.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh, that was so nice.
We're mommies.
I know. We're Milfs.
We did it.
I know we did it.
And the journey's only beginning, so we might come back with like a toddler episode.
Yeah, right. If there's another time where the other girls
we get
can't
any
come.
mommy views.
Yeah, then we can do another episode and see how things have been and stuff like that.
Update them.
Yeah. All right. Well, should we wrap it up?
Let's wrap it up.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
A new video comes out every week.
Yes. Sometimes Wednesday, Hippie Hump Day.
Sometimes Hippie Hump Days.
I'm gonna try to keep it on Hippie Hump Days. But thank you guys so much for watching. We love all the support that you have given us. Let us know if there's anything that you guys want us to talk about. Yes. And then hopefully next video we'll all be back together.
I think so. Before we leave to our big trip.
Oh yeah.
We can't stop talking about it. Every fucking episode we gotta bring up our trip.
Wait, I'm actually gonna cut that out because I don't want them to know when we're going. Oh, imagine we get fans that stalk us.
Okay, cut it out.
Yeah.
But yes, hopefully next week we're all together, and since we haven't really seen each other, we have a lot to talk about, you know?
Yeah, we do. So
just catch up or something.
Yeah. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.